and you're going to fail, and you're going to fail, and then you're going to win. And that's life. Life without those challenges, it's just existence. Don't just exist. Go live. Eventually, inaction will cost you, but your default setting should be, I'm going to do something. Just get up, move towards that challenge, and go attack it. Go do something that's hard.
Struggle sucks.
Depends on how you frame it. If you want freedom in your life, you have to have discipline. Move towards that challenge, whatever that challenge is. And you may be successful, and you may not be successful, but you will be better. And the next challenge, you're going to be more prepared for. Because we're going to have wins, we're going to have losses. We're going to have successes, we're going to have failures. We're going to have good nights, we're going to have bad nights. We're going to have good relationships, we're going to have bad relationships. We're going to have good ideas and bad ideas. We're going to make money, we're going to lose money. All these things are going to happen. And if you oscillate emotionally up and down drastically, it's going to be problematic. Embrace those emotions, but don't let those emotions embrace you. Keep pushing through things that suck. This is a very difficult thing to do because it hurts.
All right. Good morning. Happy Friday to all. So I got a lot of good stuff to talk about. I had a great day yesterday. In case you guys didn't see it, I got my nephew his new Model 3. He's getting ready to go to the gym right now. He's pretty stoked about it. It's a fun car to drive. This was actually my dream car 5 years ago. I ended up buying a Model Y because it was more practical for my needs since I had a kid who was like, 6 years old at the time. So I couldn't convince myself to get the 3, but I got to drive it now, and it is a pretty fucking awesome car. Very stoked about that. There's a lot. I say this all the time, but there's actually a really lot to talk about. And there's going to be a lot of things that I'm doing over the next week to step up my game significantly. And so we'll talk about more of those later, but I'm going to try and get better at summarizing videos and content. The Howard Lutnik interview from the All In podcast was magic. The one with Scott Bessent was great too. Again, he is the new leader. Papa Powell will be following his lead. And then there's some other videos that I just watched recently too, like this one. Well, I watched the whole digital summit, but this one from Blockworks was good too. And there's just a bunch of others, and I want to get better at summarizing those. So I'm using tools in order to be able to better do that. So we'll be stepping up our game a lot. I wanted to talk about FS Insight Fund Strats analysis and video from this morning or last night actually. And I wanted to talk about one of the key things that he highlighted on it. So he said the Fed put is still alive. He referenced, I don't want to say blame, but he blamed Fed Powell for the recent drop in the stock market. If you remember, there was literally his last video meeting, and he was hawkish as shit, and the markets have just tumbled ever since. And then we had was it yesterday? Was it the day before? We had the 2 days ago, I guess, where the tone was completely different. And this is a very similar experience to what happened in 2018 with markets, where Powell inflicted the pain during Trump's presidency. He inflicted the pain by trying to raise rates, and it just crushed markets for a very short period of time. And then shortly after that, markets went a lot higher. And so he's saying that he expects something like that. And I agree. I think he was also talking about a sign of tariff fears coming to an end April 2nd, roughly 10 days from now. We will be past peak fears, and we're already hearing discussions. Nobody's talking about it. I don't know fucking why. But again, we had Hassett, Lutnik, and Bessent talking about in a post how they had stayed up all night talking to foreign leaders around the world that want to ease these tariff-related concerns on April 2nd. Nobody seems to care that that's a thing. I don't know why. Everybody's worried about tariffs, and it's like, hey guys, they're literally talking about the solutions for it and how they're working with a bunch of governments around the world to resolve these concerns. So let's not talk about that. That's obviously not a big deal. It's just like one of the peak concerns that everybody seems to be fucking scared about. But let's not talk about it when they're talking about having solutions for it. That totally makes sense. And then judiciary woes. We'll be covering some of that. I think we're finally getting momentum with Judge Roberts or without Judge Roberts in the Supreme Court. I think we're finally finding judicial paths, or I should say, legislative and constitutional paths that will allow us to be able to correct the wrongs of what's been happening with all these judges. I think we're finally getting to that point, and I'm very excited about that too. And then I want to talk about the plan, because everybody seems to think the fucking plan from this government is to crash the stock market. That's what I keep hearing, like really ignorant, stupid fucking people saying. And that isn't the plan. The plan is actually significantly different, and we'll be covering that too. It's to grow fast. Again, I talked about that Howard Lutnik interview. I'll be summarizing that in detail. Again, my goal is to get much, much better at giving you guys, more detail over shorter periods of time. But this interview was phenomenal, and it let you know the recruitment process. It let you know who Howard Lutnik is, which is this man lost 658 employees on September 11th. He was supposed to die, but he just happened to be doing something he never did, which was take his kid to school because his wife told him he really needed to. And so it saved his life. He lost a bunch of his friends, like lifelong friends, at a much earlier age. I can't remember if he said he was 30 or what he was around that time frame, but he lost all these people, and it really transformed him. He said that for years he used to cry every day. I mean, think about that. He lost all these people, but he moved on from that, and he found great strength from it. And here recently, he never had an intent to go into politics, but he did. And now he's leading the way in Trump's group and in his cabinet to just a much better future. And this was an amazing video, an hour and 44 minutes long. I loved it. And so I'm gonna do a better job summarizing a lot of these things. I know people have been giving him a lot of shit as like a free radical that's been causing problems with all these tariff discussions, but man, he's fucking brilliant. And he's one of many brilliant people that are articulate and can speak to what the president is trying to do. And again, they come up with ideas and Trump shoots them down, but some of them he lets thrive. There's so much in this interview that was just beautiful. I'm very excited about it. Jay Duff, thank you for the $5. Good morning, Jesse and friends. I found an ETF that gives you exposure to SpaceX. The ETF is XOVR, if you guys are interested. We'll have to take a look at it. Do you know what the NAV is on it, the net asset value? Because a lot of the times when you get access to some of these things, you get access at a premium, a significant premium. So I'd be curious to hear about that. Plus, I also worry that I love SpaceX, but I don't know how profitable it'll be over the short term. I mean, maybe it will be. Maybe it will be, and it'll go up a lot. We should check it out. We definitely should. We'll have to put that in the Discord too, and remind me to look at the stock later today, because we should take a look at it. We're trying to find asymmetric opportunities every chance we get, so we should look at it. Let me go back here though. I digress a little bit, but yeah. So the plan is to grow fast. And I kind of sidetracked with Howard Lutnik there, but he talks about that in that interview. We're going to grow fast. That's his part. The gold card, all these other things to try and, again, $2 trillion in companies that are stating that they're dedicating these funds to the United States and to growing this economy over the next 4 years. That's like 175% of the total corporate investment that Biden had during his entire fucking presidency. And this is the first 2 months. So that's a part of the plan, right? It's not to crash the economy. Also, again, and Scott Bessent talked to this, but the supplemental leverage ratio and what he's trying to do with that, he thinks he can lower the bond yields by 50 bips, like between 30 and 70. That's 50, right? Like roughly on average. That's a huge deal. We also have stable coins that are the fastest growing purchaser of U.S. Treasuries. And they're to the point where they're 65% of what China has been selling. These motherfuckers are buying now with stable coins, and we're looking at stablecoin legislation that's going to ramp up those numbers even more, completely offsetting any pain or punishment that China could ever inflict upon our economy by selling our treasuries. And we also have the power, I strongly believe, to pressure our friends and adversaries to purchase our treasuries and potentially war bonds and things like this, things that really smart people like Michael Howell and many others have been talking about. And I also, from listening to Scott Bessent, these people are telling you what they're going to fucking do. All you have to do is listen to them. And it sounds like he's okay issuing shorter dated treasuries on this $9 trillion that we're having to refinance. So he's going to do whatever it takes to keep bond yields where they need to be and keep our debt at a sustainable path while we grow. That's the fucking plan. And the most brilliant people on the planet, probably throughout history, collectively combined, these are the people that are trying to make that plan happen. And they're going to succeed. They're going to succeed. And whether or not you understand that is going to totally be up to you. So, again, you can have some downtimes. That's why I played that video earlier, right? The motivational one. I watch these things. Well, not that one. I watch these things all the time, because you can get kicked in the nuts. You can have a tough time, but it's up to you to get back up. And it's up to you to be inspired by wonderful, magical fucking people that are trying to make the world a better place. Hopefully you'll get there. I know I try every day to. And if you wake up with a fresh mind, understanding all the possibilities and not looking at all the fucking noise, you will live a much better life and you'll be richly rewarded for it. I promise you that. There's a reason why I'm a rich multimillionaire who's buying his fucking nephew a new Model 3. It wasn't from cowardice. That controlled my life for over 40 years. Feeling inferior, feeling stupid. I thought I was one of the dumbest motherfuckers around. And now I'm rich, bitch. So, you get that from hard work. You get that from resilience. You get that from being positive and looking towards the builders. I hope everybody can find that in their life. I waited way too fucking long. I waited until my 40s. Please don't wait until your 40s. Do it sooner. 1 second here. All right, sorry. Had to say goodbye to my daughter. You love the shirt? Yeah, micro to macro, man. I got a merch store. I keep forgetting that. John Cusack is noise. I like that guy's movies, and I actually thought he was very entertaining. But, it is what it is. He's definitely a dumb motherfucker. Well, Gemini, then get your shit together. If you're in your 40s, you gotta catch up, bro. You got to catch up. Same with you, Buffalo Buzz. Again, you could do these things at any age. But if somebody's younger, do it earlier. Don't wait. You'll be fucking tired. You'll be fucking tired the older you get, and you don't want that. All right, let's move on. We got a lot to cover, and I've just been gabbing like a motherfucker here. All right, I said people are moving money over to European stocks because that's where all the opportunity is. Lol. This is James Melville. He says, net zero is driving up energy prices, admits Bank of England official. These guys are screwing their own economy. They're screwing their people in every possible way. They're not doing all the things that we're talking about doing right now and that we're going to make happen because we've got the most brilliant people in fucking history doing it. They're doing the exact opposite. So why not buy some European stocks? Hey, they're undervalued. Yeah, they'll continue to be undervalued. Seth Golden, Goldman Sachs, CTAs are net short equities for the first time since 2023, and we don't see them relieving this position until after April 2nd's tariffs. This is the match likely to start the short covering rally fire thereafter. Again, remember, Powell put us in this situation. We don't need him anymore, but he's definitely working to rectify it, and I think he's on Team Trump. I think his goals, to be really clear, Powell's goal is to have a soft landing. That's Trump's goal. It's the same goal. And Powell has this thing behind him that is so powerful. His legacy. Everybody wants to be brilliant. Everybody wants to be remembered as doing something good. It's an incredibly driving force. Now, some people that don't get in the spotlight, they don't care for this. They don't care at all, right? They're just here to exist and then die and be forgotten. Most of us will be forgotten. In fact, zoom out 100 years, it's going to be like Elon Musk and a few others that won't be, right? So we'll all be forgotten in the end. But But a lot of people want that legacy. A lot of people want like their name on a fucking plaque somewhere. A lot of people want to be known as doing it, getting it done. And Powell wants that. His own self-interest will drive him to do what is right. And that just happens to perfectly align with Trump. It didn't last time, right? It didn't in the last presidency. It does now. So I think that's going to be huge. No inflation from tariffs. Say it ain't so. Wink. So James E. Thorne, our favorite Canadian, well, one of them. There's a lot of good Canadians. In the real world, he said Nike tariffs causing lower sales and declining margins, no increase in retail prices. So again, this is Nike Q3 2025. The company reported a decline in gross margins to 41.5%, driven by inventory markdowns, increased promotions, and the impact of tariffs, including a 20% import duty on goods from China and Mexico. Tariffs are expected to further pressure margins by 4 to 5% points in the next quarter. Despite these challenges, Nike did not indicate plans to increase retail prices, instead focusing on managing inventory and driving full price sales to stabilize profitability. Why am I bringing this up? Because this is it. This is what's going to happen from the fucking tariffs, okay? You're not going to see the inflation all these economists that are so fucking brilliant are talking about. You'll see compression in margins for people that are impacted. You know who isn't fucking impacted? Tesla, Bitcoin. In fact, Bitcoin, if anything, the pressure that these tariffs will put on places like China, on places like Europe, on places like Canada, on places like Mexico, on so many more, will actually cause them to print a bunch of fucking money that will create the liquidity that will drive Bitcoin higher. I think that's the prevailing theory that's going to happen in the next several months. It's going to be companies that haven't done a good job pulling themselves away from China and producing in the United States will hurt. Their margins will be crushed. They'll be crushed. If you get your shit here, there, everywhere, you're going to hurt. Your margins are going to hurt. Short those fucking companies. Don't short Bitcoin, though, because as the world is hurting, not the United States, because we're pushing for austerity and growth at the same time. It's brilliant. It's fucking brilliant. It's Ronald Reagan-esque, only better. And that we know what the 80s look like. We know what came after that. This is it. This is the play. This is what's going to happen. Bitcoin's going to go up. Other countries are going to get crushed. They're going to push in a bunch of liquidity. That could drive their equities up, but it will also drive up Bitcoin. And at the same time, companies like Tesla won't get hurt as bad as people think they will. And all these protesters and Molotov cocktail assholes will eventually go away when they see their friends in prison for 20 fucking years. So margin compression in the States for shitty companies that produce goods all over the fucking world. If you benefited from the last fucking 20 years, you're going to hurt now. So think that way. I think that's the way you want to think. I'm going to get caught up with chat here real quick. EU is super gay and not in a cool, trendy way. I love chat. I need to look at your chat more. Andrew, that's the equivalent of buying Canadian. Sid Vid, I'm so hyped to see the USA dominate these lames over the next few years. They will. Andrew, truth, ego is massive, but it's take away any you can get for any reason. It can be. Yeah, it totally can be. But again, legacy is something that people strive for, especially at the end of their life. You want to matter. You want to matter. And that's what's going to drive Powell to do the right thing. That's also what's going to drive Trump to do the right thing. That's also what's driving Elon Musk to do the right thing. They all want to matter. They want to do something great while they're here. Because not everybody, some people have incredible amounts of faith and they believe that right after their existence here is over, that they will be blessed with all kinds of wonderful things. But the worst case scenario is that you're not. And that you revert to fucking dust. And that your being what it is right now doesn't do anything after this. And you're just over. So if that for some reason ended up being true, you know what would be really cool? To live this fucking life like it mattered. And that's what these people are going to try and do. And I think they'll do the right thing. I don't know. That's just me. Sid Vid again. Bro, Clean Spark is killing us. This shit will definitely test your conviction. Yeah, I agree. CleanSpark has been that way. So is Mara. So is every miner. So is every shitcoin. So has most of the market. Tesla, brutalized, right? Palantir, not even so good. What did it drop? 40%? It's been a rough go. It's been a rough go. That's how this shit works. Be diversified. Figure out where you can find out other opportunity. Try and balance out your portfolio. Work on being resilient. Work harder. Make more fucking money. Do whatever you got to do. Danny, Sailor, strategy upsizes Strife from 500 million to 722 million. Cool. Jules, Jesse, I'm not going to lie. As for BTC, I'm getting more and more depressed. That's good. I mean, not for you, but that's good. That's everybody. I love that shit. If you were to listen to the Digital Summit, you'd see that all of the institutional guys are fucking stoked for like the first time ever. So while retail is like, oh, my shitcoin, oh, my Farcoin isn't going to the moon. All the institutional people are like, wow, dude, we're going to make so much money in the future. So focus on the big picture. Do you think America, literally Trump yesterday, talking about how we're going to be the Bitcoin and crypto capital of the world, talking about all the things that he's done and will be doing to ensure that happens. And yet people are bearish. I don't know how long the list needs to be of positives for people to not look at the price action and focus on that and focus on the signal. I don't know what it takes, but I can tell you this. I've been in this game since 2017 with Bitcoin, and I would have never believed that we could be in the positive position that we are in today. If you would have told me that the government would allow ETFs, I mean, again, we were hoping for that in 2017, but it was a pipe dream everybody gave up on. And we got that shit. The world is doing that. If you would have told me that we would have been creating a strategic reserve, I wouldn't have believed you. If you would have told me states were doing it and other countries are doing it, and El Salvador and all these others are embracing Bitcoin, and the IMF is getting so scared, they're telling the United States and other countries like in Dubai and United Arab Emirates, they're telling them that, hey, don't embrace Bitcoin. It's bad. It'll destabilize your country. I never would have bet that we'd be where we are right now. And I'm stoked that we're fucking here. Fuck the price. Just realize what's going to be happening in the future. Realize that bonds are going to be coming down. Realize there was a rotation into emerging markets in Europe and China because it was convenient. It was convenient. They were incredibly undervalued. But that doesn't mean they're the future. There's a lot of stuff coming. A lot of big stuff. So focus on that. Focus on what matters. Andrew, just gauging the side of the border, gauging the side of the border. I just bought our metal roof for our house build, 100% Canadian from the ground up, and they still tried boosting the price 12% due to tariffs. Yeah, I mean, you guys are going to be fucked. You guys are fucked. You guys are fucked. You got Mark Carney, who's going to be the prime minister, maybe. Don't let that happen. If that happens, you guys are fucked. Again, they want to tax the shit out of you. They're not pro-growth. They want to tax the shit out of you and take all your money away. If you don't vote for Pierre, your country is fucking stupid and deserves to be the 51st state of this country, and will be. If you guys vote for Mark Carney, then you will be the 51st state of the United States. Ali, Jesse, what do you think about SMCI as a symmetric bet? Maybe. Asymmetric? Yeah, maybe. Could be. I'm not focused on it right now, but I think from Micron, we got great news, right? It looks like there's high chip demand, so I wouldn't be surprised if the chip sector does better. I think everything's going to bounce. So Stevie G, got my wife watching the market open with me for the first time. Tell her hi and tell her I'm sorry I cuss so much. JT, revert to dust like my CleanSpark calls. You guys are so positive. So much fun here. Yeah, I mean, if they're July, I mean, that could be straight up true, though. Legit. Mine might be. So I feel you there. Legacy matters for Min most of all. We are nothing without legacy. If you revert to dust without a mark left behind, how tragic can it get? Can it be? I think that's. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably, maybe we are more driven. Again, there's clear differences between men and women. If you see a 6'4" black African man running against a bunch of women in a race and then just destroying them, and but he calls himself a woman. Anyway, you can see the differences, right? You can see the differences in the numbers. You can see the differences in the science. Women have bigger hips. What's that for? I don't know. Maybe babies. Like, there's clear differences. It wouldn't surprise me if there's differences like that as well, right? Like, there's differences between us just in our chemical makeup. It's okay. That's possible. Matthew Purdy, here, Jesse. Agree 100% on the future outlook. Fuck the memes and the sweatshop abusers. Yes, that's a great way of putting that. Hef Williams, more likes, more power. Render OG, only a matter of time before we launch, man. Victor Hernandez, there will be a moment when shorts will get burned. I think it's coming quick. Better be invested that capitulated like that stock trader Max. Yeah. And again, he could be, I don't know, he could be right about CleanSpark. I think we always have to remember that there's risk in every investment. There's single risk, there's company risk, there's sector risk, there's national risk. There's all kinds of levels of risk. I think if you're diversified, have multiple asymmetric bets, you help limit that. And I think that's a good way of thinking about it. And I think he's going to end up being wrong, though. I do agree with you. I think he's going to end up regretting his decision. But hey, whatever. Shit happens. Tristan, do you think gold will rise further? I think we're reaching a top. I think we're reaching a top in gold. I think, yeah, there's a number of reasons I think that. I'll try and flesh them out more in my head, and maybe in posts, and then we can talk about it more in the future. Susan, hey, sweetie, how you doing? It's like being kicked in the nuts. Sorry for my comment. Comes late. Was driving in the car. No worries at all. Sean, did you watch Tesla All Hands? Yeah, beautiful stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. Alonesis. Jesse, you were looking into AI ETF or a stock. Did you find one that looks good? I don't know if I did, and I didn't get that far into it. These are some of the things, many things that I need to follow up on are just the follow-up. I got to get better at that. I'm trying to work to automate a bunch of it, but also, too, I need to put more time into this, and that's what I'm working on doing. Susan, mommy, what does kicked in the nuts mean? John Kirby, I told my wife Jesse isn't angry. He's passionate. Yes, that's true. TT, even Michael Guyad thinks gold is topping. Yeah, okay, good. I mean, if Michael says it, he's pretty bullish, right? I think he's been pretty bullish. So that probably means that it is. Unlock Real Estate Bro, what do you think about AMD's situation? I don't know. I don't know if I have anything specific to talk about with AMD. Let me know if you have a topic you want to run through. I'm going to keep rolling, though, because, again, we got a lot to talk about. So let's get through it. So we talked about our favorite Canadian, yada yada. British HODL. America is going. This is one of the comments from the Howard Lutnik video that the All On Pod did. America is going to start selling geopolitical insurance policy called a permanent residency for $5 million to 37 million potential buyers. To be clear, it's not probably 37 potential buyers, but there are probably 37 million people that would benefit from this. It might be one buyer trying to bring over or allow the possibility of 5 of his family members coming over. So he's willing to buy $25 million worth of U.S. Gold Card residency cards in order to be able to ensure that if shit gets weird in his country, his or her country, that they are able to leave and they're able to come to the greatest place on earth. I could see a lot of Chinese business people looking to do this on the low key. And I could see just a lot of business people, wealthy business people from around the world. And let's go into it more because there's a lot of good stuff here. He said potential buyers who want to live in the USA at any point, and amazingly, you will not be charged or have any tax responsibility on earnings outside of the United States and not have the worldwide taxation reporting burden of a normal American citizen. So this is a fucking gold card. People like Shamath, who would have loved to come here earlier in their careers, they would have bought this in a second. He even talked about that in the interview. And so there are rich, powerful people that are scared of what's going on in their country. Like, look at Europe, look at Canada, look at China, look at so many, even Australia, talking about how we don't have freedom of speech. Places that will just imprison you for your words, or just that are getting weird and have crazy environments going on. But you can literally you can get a green card or get a gold card here and then not have to worry about being double taxed or any weird shit. Just like you have a safety play to get the fuck out of your country if you ever need to. And so for $5 million, that's nothing. Trump thinks that he can sell 1 million of these. That's $5 trillion in potential income. So I think it's important to understand this. Oh, it looks like we have economic data. We'll jump back. But it's important to understand the growth and how we're going to obtain growth. It's very, very important. Let's see what we have for economic data. It looks like all we have is Fed Goolsby. I think I see him talking on CNBC right now. Probably going to look at that. I do want to see. I do want to see how Canadian data is coming out though, real quick before he starts talking. But we'll listen to Goolsby, see what he has to say, and then we'll get back to the good stuff. But yeah, hopefully you guys are all having a good day, man. Marquis. No need to panic. Just look at M2 Global Liquidity Index with 7 weeks delay versus MS. Yeah, and I do believe, again, I think there's the global liquidity, the M2 money supply. I think Michael Howell talks all the time about how that only gets you so far because the money has to be put to work. But I do believe that there's a lot of incentives being created across multiple nations to do that. And then I'm also hearing about private or debt creation from companies like JP Morgan talking about how they're extending more credit. And then I see studies that show that small businesses aren't having issues getting loans anymore. I think all these things are very impactful, and I think it's increasing the money supply. I 100% agree, Mark. I 100% agree with you, dude. Thanks for bringing that up. That's a good talking point. Do you think MSTX is a buy now? I do, actually. I think, we broke out. I very much do. Let's see here. So we got retail sales ex autos in Canada, 0.2%, better than the negative numbers for consensus and forecast. Cool. So minus autos, doing better. Retail sales final negative 0.6. Consensus is negative 0.4, and forecast is the same. Retail sales year over year, 4.2% versus the forecast of 4%. So worse on the month for retail sales, but better year over year. New housing price index. Has that data come out for Canada yet? Jay Strez, they might need to give you a referral code to get 1 million gold cards sold, Jesse. That would be a fucking great referral code. I would push that shit. Yeah, for sure, man. I'll take that referral code. Let's see here. So current new housing price index up 0.1%, forecast to be flat. So, and then they have a forecast of 0.2% for year over year. Let's see if that number came in yet. It has not. Whatever. We're going to get to Goolsby. I want to hear what he has to say. I don't know. The feds can be such a pain in the ass. Goolsby is probably not as dumb as some of them. Let's listen, though. Let's see what he has to say. Again, this is Bank of Chicago shit. So let's see what we got here.
He has a special guest that we've been talking about. Hey, Steve.
Hey, good morning, Joe. Yes, we are pleased to be joined by Austin Goolsby, the Chicago Federal Reserve President. Austin, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, Steve, great to see you again.
Okay, so the last time we talked, you said, tell you the weather, you'll tell me the jacket. And that's part of your way of saying that you don't comment on the weather, you just have to react to what's out there. Okay, so we had the Fed meeting this week, and we learned that inflation is hotter and growth is cooler. So now tell me what jacket to wear.
We're still waiting to go outside. You know, when you got a lot of uncertainty, I do think you need to wait to see some of these things get cleared up.
Fair.
On the policy side, as you know, Chicago's the 7th district, is heart of the Midwest. I'm out talking to business people and civic leaders throughout this region, and there's been a decided turn in these conversations over the last 6 weeks of anxiety, of pausing, waiting on capital projects, CapEx, et cetera, until they figure out tariffs, other fiscal policy. So I don't think we can decide the jacket quite yet. We're going to have to see through this bumpy patch.
Okay.
I want to get to that a little later, but I'm interested also in this idea that stocks were very optimistic and then they became less optimistic. Business sentiment numbers were up and then they've cooled off a bit. Is all of this the equivalent of an economic shock that could really...
Yeah, you're right. He pretty much is, TT. But I do want to hear what he has to say. I just want to hear what the pitch is.
...derail the prior trajectory of the economy?
Sometimes / maybe. It depends how big they are. It depends how long they last. And it depends what form they are. At the end of the day, I still think that the Fed needs to be the steady hand and take the long view. I understand why the market wants to get the information as rapidly as possible and wants to know by Monday morning or by the end of today what's going to be the path for rates, for tariffs, for fiscal policy for the entire rest of the year. But it's not realistic at this moment to.
That's okay. The data will help us with that. Good enough. Let's keep moving on. So yeah, this gold card, it's going to be sick, guys. Again, Howard Lutnik believes they will sell 1 million. No, that's actually Trump that said that. That's $5 trillion for America and arguably the best geopolitically arbitrage permanent residency for the customer. This is the best. If you're a citizen of the United States or have one of these gold cards, your ability to be able to travel the world is fucking phenomenal. You can get to almost every country. And again, you can get different passports. This gives you so much optionality. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge, especially with us being pro Bitcoin, low taxation. Again, so Howard Lutnik talked about in that interview too. He said that with Trump, he's like, yeah, we can do all the stuff. We'll get you the trillion plus in growth. I'll do that part. We'll get you the trillion. He met with Elon. He tried to recruit Elon for DOGE. He came up with the name first, and then Elon was like, well, I'm fucking sold. We're doing this. But he said, we'll do the trillion. We'll do the trillion here. We'll do the trillion there. But if we do this, I need something from you, Trump. I need you to make it to where we remove taxes for the bottom 85% of the country, the 150,000 a year and lower income earners. They shouldn't pay fucking anything. They shouldn't pay anything for taxes. And so everybody wants to abolish the IRS, but this is how you get to that stage, okay? This is how you get to that stage. You make it to where if 85% of the country doesn't have to worry about the IRS, life is a lot fucking easier. And then you could just you could limit the rest of it too. You could switch to a flat tax that's like a really low percent. You could do a lot of different things that will make it to where tax obligations are just way lower than they've been. And again, if you've got people paying to be in this country, if you're cutting energy prices in half, if you're doing all the right things, you will have a much better environment than the rest of the world. And that's what we're headed towards. Let's listen to Tom Lee. This is an interview from yesterday afternoon. Let's listen. He reiterated some of this in the other video I was talking about.
Tom, even as the markets are digesting what Steve said, this kind of lower growth, stickier inflation environment, and not taking it all that well, what are the other positive signs you're seeing for stocks this week?
Well, I think that the sort of the big elephant in the room has been the absolute fear that has become systematic in markets around April 2nd and the tariff deadlines. And I think that there have been little hints this week that instead of April 2nd being the date of some sort of annihilation of trade relationships, that we may start to see either deals before then or even delays in implementation. And I think that really investors are going to breathe a sigh of relief because, as you can tell, pessimism has become very pervasive because of the fears of what will happen on April 2. So I think that's a positive. And then the other is, and it's really a technical perspective, but Mark Newton, our head of technical strategy, has pointed out there are increasing signs of that we've actually established a tradable bottom. And that's not only the fact that we declined so quickly, but it's that market breadth has really been expanding and then actually following.
Market breadth expanding at the bottom is a beautiful fucking sign. And all that means for people that don't know the term very well is that you've got a much larger participation in the market versus just like the Magnificent Seven, like the top couple of companies.
Through in a way that looks like this is not a 10% decline that's leading to a 20%, but a 10% water.
And let me just show you what that looks like. This is the week. Okay, the big guys, the Magnificent Seven, getting hurt. Look at everybody else. This is fucking beautiful. If you don't understand the concept of market breadth, learn it. Because this is amazing. This is exactly what we want to see. Exactly what we want to see.
Fall decline / heart attack for stocks driven by rage selling, and now it's tradable.
So those would be.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Also, I was talking about how stablecoin issuance is actually becoming one of the bigger buyers of our treasuries. Cayman Islands is actually the biggest, and I mean that. So let's just say, what is the Cayman Islands? China, parts of Europe that don't want to be known for buying treasuries. It's probably a lot of different companies, but there's that. You probably didn't know France was a huge buyer of our treasuries, or Luxembourg, Germany, and Belgium, and Singapore, and United Kingdom. As much as Keir Starmer hates us, he's buying our shit. But the fastest growing buyer of our treasuries is stable coins. It's Tether. This isn't even all the stable coins. If you include all the stable coins, it actually gets closer to Singapore, and it offsets almost all of Chinese mainland selling. And I think China's going to be buying our bonds. I really do. I think we can make it to where Japan stops selling. I think there's a lot of levers we can push in order to be able to get it to where, again, our bond rates are coming down, and that when we're able to stabilize and we're able to refinance. I'm not as worried about this. I think there's a lot of problem solvers that are fixing these things, just from what I can see, let alone what they're capable of doing. Quadruple witching. Is it quadruple witching or triple witching? I feel like it used to be quadruple and now it's triple. Or maybe it was triple and now it's quadruple. Chat, figure it out for me, would you? While we're doing that, we're going to listen to the president of Congo talking about how he's going to give us all of his fucking resources to solve the problems in his country.
Partner to have.
Can you talk about the discussions for a deal with your country?
Très bien, merci. Thank you very much. Good evening to you. We are looking for partnerships, and we have established partnerships with many other countries, and we think the United States of America, given its role and influence around the world, is an important partner to have. And we are very happy to see that with the Trump administration, things are moving a lot faster on both sides.
Untapped deposits are worth an estimated $24 trillion. What would you need to happen to move forward with that relationship?
We want to extract these minerals, but also process them, as this would create a lot of jobs. And we want a partnership that will provide lasting peace and stability for our countries, which we need.
It's a dangerous place, the Congo. How would a U.S. company guarantee safety on the ground?
We can build our defense and security capabilities. And I think that the U.S. is able to use either pressure or sanctions to make sure that armed groups who are in the DRC can be kept at bay.
So why is this interesting? They have $24 trillion in minerals. And so, yes, we will be doing that. Again, Tom Lee, Fed dovish, investors bearish, tariff fears triggered rage selling. What do I think from a technical standpoint will happen with triple or quad witching, whatever the fuck we're calling it nowadays? I don't know. I don't know if I would say people are mostly short. So I think that to me would say that a little bit of upside is probably the best move. It's the most painful trade, which is usually what plays out, where all the people that want to make a bunch of money on one side of the trade get fucked. Because again, you got to remember, like almost 90% of options expire worthless. That's why I do leaps, right? Because a lot of them don't end up closing at the number you want them to close at. So I think the most painful trade is probably like flat to up. That's probably the most painful trade. So that's probably what will happen. We'll see, though. Again, I haven't been paying attention like to all these options contracts and where everything's sitting, and I haven't been focused on that as much. I just don't honestly care that much. The long investor. I wrote my thesis in college in 2003 predicting that China would become the biggest economy in the world by 2030. Goldman agrees. That's not what's interesting here. And Goldman is wrong about China. They're just trying to get people to invest in it because they want an exit liquidity. I actually think that China is dropping down and that the U.S. will be growing at a much quicker pace and that India is going to potentially surpass both of us. That's what I believe is happening. Again, like Nigeria is going to be one of the fastest growing countries in the world. It doesn't mean that they're going to have a really good GDP. I think the entire concept of GDP is just fucked right now. And they talked about that. I think it was Howard Lutnik too, honestly, or maybe it was a different. I watched so many different interviews yesterday, but it was Howard Lutnik. I'll cover that when I go through this. So in his interview, he talked about GDP as kind of a joke because in GDP, if you just print a bunch of money and give it to somebody, you're really increasing GDP. If you print money and it goes somewhere and then it leaves the country and it doesn't benefit your citizens, you're increasing GDP. These aren't real. Production is real. Producing products that people buy is real GDP. And so that's what it should be, right? Yeah, remove government from the GDP. Exactly. GDP should be actual production gained. That should be the real figure. That's not the way it exists in the current world. If you look at real GDP, I mean, remember this. I can't remember what the exact number it is, but the average Chinese person makes absolutely nothing. Poverty standards compared to the United States. And yet everybody goes like, oh, China's surpassing. China's so much better. China's so much better. Then why are the vast majority of their population still fucking slaves? Why is 1/3, like 350 million people, basically slave labor that have to travel across the country to do jobs and not even necessarily have citizenship in the townships they're in, where they can enroll their kids in school or do anything? No, they're just migrant, worthless, fucking slave labor. Why is like probably 1/3 of their society that? Because really their population is much lower than they've been leading on. We've figured that out because now India is the largest population in the world. And I think even those numbers are bullshit. So the concept of GDP needs to change. China is not going to be the biggest power by 2030. That's old news. That's over. The U.S. is coming back with a vengeance, and people will realize that soon enough. Let's see, what else we got here? Oh, we talked about all this other stuff, but just like, again, peak fear right now. People are stupid. They're going to be wrong. That's the truth. Real quickly, let's go through Doge. Elon Musk Doge blocks $52 million payment to the World Economic Forum. Fuck you, F. Bet against this man at your own folly. All you late night talk show people, all you dipshits who think that you're crushing it and you're destroying Elon Musk, you're gonna have some fun here soon. Elon Musk, many all-star engineers are taking a majority pay cut. So let's listen to this. This is one of the people on the Doge team. Let's listen.
Yeah, I've been brought in to look at the IRS's modernization program in particular.
Also, in that interview with Howard Lutnik, do you know what they're having happen right now? Elon Musk. Give us a bunch of software for free to help optimize systems. Okay. Google, give us free software to be able to optimize these other systems. Okay. Microsoft, give us free software to optimize these other systems. Okay. That's what's happening right now all across the federal government. You better realize that.
As well as the operations and maintenance budget. I really care a lot about this country, and this is a huge program that's currently 30 years behind schedule, and it's already $15 billion over budget.
Wait a second.
Oh, wait, you mean the modernization program has been going on for 30 years, and how many billions is it over budget?
Explain to our viewers what the program is in layman's terms.
Yeah, so the goal is to take, the IRS has some pretty legacy infrastructure. It's actually very similar.
Dude, we got the midterms in the bag so easily, it's not even funny.
Similar to what banks have been using. It's old mainframes running COBOL and assembly. And the challenge has been, how do we migrate that to a modern system? Virtually
so just 50-year-old code, that's all.
Every bank has already done this, but we're still using a lot of those same systems. And typically in industry, this takes a few years, maybe a few $100 million. And we're now 35 years into this program. We've actually been, if you ask them now, it's 5 years away. And it's been 5 years away since 1990. It's supposed to be delivered in 1996, and it's still 5 years away.
In your area of...
Look at Scott Besson. He's sitting there like, we are going to crush this fucking shit.
Expertise that informs your ability to do this review is what?
I'm a software developer by background, and I'm a CEO of a software technology company.
So when you came into the department, the first thing you do is just get into the guts of the system and see how it operates?
Yeah, really talk to the software developers. Talk to the people on the ground and what they're seeing. I think one encouraging thing is we actually have quite a lot of software talent on the ground, the people writing code. We actually have quite a lot of good people it is almost always the case that when I ask them what the correct answer is, how do we solve these problems, they're almost always right, which is good. They just haven't been in a position to be empowered to make those decisions. So I'm actually...
We call that bureaucracy. Let's talk more about bureaucracy. The Department of Government Efficiency contract update. Today, agencies terminated 105 contracts with a ceiling value of $935 million and $580 million in savings, including $1.03 million in National Science Foundation consulting contract for fitness center services. Thank you, DOGE. Also, one of my favorite people, Data Republican. She is a fucking saint. She said, update. So 2 days ago, the doxing website DogeQuest, primed by an article by the SLRTRIB, Salt Lake Tribune, slapped my husband's distillery front and center in an attempt to intimidate and silence me. They've been trying to destroy her family, going after her mother, her husband, everybody close to her, right? She said, to be honest, it did get me down. And congratulations, they might have achieved their goal. We might just have to shutter the whole operation because my husband just now notified me of our entire inventory now nearly cleared out in 48 hours flat. His multi-year productions, all of which he personally oversaw and toiled over, all bought out in the blink of an eye. Terrorists lose this round. And I have a great feeling that this is going to similarly backfire against Tesla. I'm going to say that she's probably right since I bought 3 fucking Teslas in a month to support Elon Musk. And I love this. This is beautiful. This is the signal. Ignore the noise, okay? Luke said, one of the 7 federal agencies shuttered by DOGE on Friday is the most dogeable agency of all time. The FMCS, before the pandemic, had a 9-story K Street tower for 60 employees. 9 stories. Its halls were lined with oil paintings of the employees and other art purchased from the boss's wife. These people lived like kings off of your money. Elon Musk, massive fraud. Matt Van Swoel, somebody who was a Democrat but has switched over, said that they found that he had been donating to causes for the Democratic Party when he hasn't been. This is massive fraud. It's going to be uncovered. These people are fucked. We got rid of all the 120 plus crowd out of the Social Security Administration. We're making progress, guys. We're making progress. And also, in regard to all the Tesla assaults, it looks like there was another one recently. I just want to pull it up here real quick. I'm going to refresh. So it looks like the Cookie Monster was trying to break into a Tesla recently to get cookies. But luckily, we got all these cameras. This is not one of them. Anyway, more serious notes. All right, there's my nephew again. He does look happy, though, right? Does he look happy? I mean, it's kind of a cheesy smile, kind of a cheese dick smile. But he's happy. Let's keep going here. Charlie Kirk. President Trump issues a warning of up to 20 years in prison for buying bars for Tesla terrorists and their funders. Yes, sir. Again, we got to talk about Tesla. We can't not talk about Tesla right now. Dalton Brewer. Tesla is the largest, greatest supercharging network in the world, and it's rapidly growing. This is crazy. It's just crazy to watch this grow. Projected growth in 2025, another 20%, 2x team efficiency. I remember when they were downsizing the supercharging network massively, and everybody was like, oh my God, Tesla's going to fail. Oh my God. Look at this, dude. We're all over fucking Canada, too. Look at this. And we're going to be in India soon. And we're going to be in parts of Central America. And then we'll be in Africa. And we'll probably be in Russia when the war is over. Again, Monday, they'll be meeting with Vladimir Putin, Trump's team, and having more conversations to try and finalize that. And parts of Europe are already starting to break deals with Russia or working on it. They're going to fall in line, too. Also, today, Tesla's quarterly sales in Italy will turn positive year on year. We're starting to trend up to one of the best quarters we've seen in the last year and a half for Tesla. We're trending up in Italy to have one of the best in a year and a half. I think that's good. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely some weird European brand damage from all these crazy fucking liberals that only get spoon-fed the same shit every day and aren't willing to think for themselves. But that's okay. People like me, people like Data Republican, people like so many others are going to offset that. And Elon has something to say about that. We'll be looking at that in a second. Tesla has officially built its first Optimus bot in a new pilot production line in Fremont. Kind of sounds like Signal. Megapacks being shipped off of from Tesla's new Shanghai megafactory. Kind of sounds like Signal. 10x plus in 4 years isn't bad. I think Kathy Wood's a little conservative, though. But whatever, I'd take it. 10x plus in 4 years, that seems like a good number. If I can get myself to 20 million, what does that get me to? Oh, $200 million. So if I get myself to 20 million, I can maybe get 150 to $200 million in my portfolio between now and 2029, 2030, maybe get to a $500 million. That sounds doable. Elon Musk family has a history of fighting Nazis. This talks about Apple. Apple does not fall far from the tree. Elon Musk's paternal grandfather, Walter Henry James Musk, played a key role in World War II, serving for nearly 6 years and eventually working with the British intelligence to defeat Nazi Germany. Sounds like Signal to me. Brian Sullivan from CNBC. He's CNBC, right? Yeah, okay. He did a little poll. He said, hey, guys, which American-made EV do you want to buy? Seems like it's Tesla. Seems like Tesla. Cantor Fitzgerald, owned by Howard Lutnik, changed Tesla to overweight from neutral, $425 price target. Here's the U.S. Commerce Secretary talking about Tesla.
Buy Tesla. It's unbelievable that this guy's stock is this cheap. It'll never be this cheap again. When people understand the things he's building, the robots he's building, the technology he's building, people are going to be dreaming of today and Jesse Waters and thinking, gosh, I should have bought Elon Musk's stock. I mean, who wouldn't invest in Elon Musk? You got to be kidding. All right, so you're...
He's right. And yeah, you said Crunchy Crunch said people who have driven Tesla really don't want to go back to regular. Dude, I was sitting there. I had dreams about a Lamborghini Revolto. It's like a $800,000 car, roughly. Depends on how much you get it loaded. I don't even want it, though, because I want my $250,000 Tesla Roadster because it's a much better car. It can drive itself. It's just, again, I can't even get myself to buy an ICE car that's a Lambo anymore. I can't talk myself into it. I think that says a lot. Oh, did he take this down? I'll have to look that one up. Nick Cruz Patain. Let's look him up. Nick Cruz. He might have had an error in what he was posting. He had a good post, but maybe it wasn't factually accurate. Maybe I need to go back and listen to the thing. Whatever. We'll assume it wasn't. Let me go back here. There's more to talk about. Robotaxi mass production starting in early 2026. 2026. This is crazy. There's more to this. I don't know if I have all the videos. I don't know why they're not actually showing in here. Oh, maybe it is now. Maybe I need to go up higher. Some of these bookmarks just get so fucking weird. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Okay, so I am finding more. All right, here we go. This is what I was looking for. All right, so Kevin O'Leary talking about Tesla and Tim Waltz's comments on it. This is great. Let's listen to this real quick.
I think go back to point one. When you set a car on fire, you should go to jail. You're a criminal. I don't think we have to talk about it in any other context. Yeah. And all those cars have cameras in them, and those dealerships have cameras. You're beyond being stupid when you do that. You're going to go to jail, and you now have a government that just got their mandate. They can't wait to find idiots that do this. You're going to spend 5 to 20 years in prison. If they get them on terrorism, which I think is a stretch, they will have no parole, no shortened sentence. They'll rot in hell in prison for 20 years. And frankly, as far as I'm concerned, that's okay. Breaking in, shooting a car, setting on fire, nothing to do with the politics, nothing to do with Tesla. You are a criminal, and you should go
what about the broader
to
question
jail.
about the protest factor? I mean, you heard
what
Tim Walz.
protest? You're a criminal.
I'm talking about Tim Walz and his comments about the Tesla stock. He says it gives him a boost to see that stock going down.
That poor guy didn't check his portfolio and his own pension plan for state. It's beyond stupid what he did. He's talking down a 3.5% weighting in his own pension plan. I mean, what's the matter with that guy? He doesn't check the well-being of his own constituents in his state. I mean, that's their investment fund. Point, what a bozo.
Yeah, they just can't win on any of these points lately. Alexander Mers, Tesla Boomer Mama, one of my favorite people on this earth. I hope to meet her someday. Texas, yes, yes, yes. So glad Texas is considering a law to prevent frivolous lawsuits from very small shareholders. The threshold 3% is very fair bar. So Texas is fixing it to where you won't have these kind of things that have happened with Tesla, where somebody who's got 10 fucking shares can sue and alter the pay package of the CEO of the company worth billions of dollars. Everybody's going to move to Texas. I was telling you about how Meta potentially is looking to do the same thing. Say goodbye to all this shit, man. It's done. You're done. This is Lars talking about the big castings here. The time of these vehicles being produced is going to drop significantly. Here's Elon Musk showing orbital launch attempts for 2024. Here's the rest of the world. Here's SpaceX. And then by payload mass, because these rockets are so much bigger, they move 90% of the payload mass for the planet. That's no small story. FBI counterterrorism to investigate Tesla attack last night. We're going after these people in broad measure. I'm not sure why I have to repeat this, but Tesla isn't just a car company. So again, Megapack factories going out like crazy. Let's see what else we have here. Cole put breaking Tesla plans to introduce the dry cathode this year in a Cybertruck that will be greatly reduce costs and efficiency. The dry cathode process eliminates the need, reduce costs and increase efficiency. The dry cathode process eliminates the need for energy-intensive wet coating methods traditionally used in battery production, which involve applying a solvent-based paste and then that must be dried. This is going to be huge at lowering the costs and getting that lower model for them. I also put this in here. 2023, look at them overreact and refuse to buy Bud Light. Now I'm burning every Tesla to the ground. There's so much of this. So much success with Tesla. I think that's the thing you should focus on. Focus on everything that Elon's doing that's great. And there were videos, I thought I had them bookmarked in here, but I can't fucking find them, from Elon Musk. Let's just find that real quick, because I'm sure they're all over the place. Let's see if he's got any of the good quotes on his page. That's March 20th. I haven't even seen that one. Let me see if there's any others on here. He might not have his own. I might have to go. Who had some good ones? I think Amit did. Let's go to Amit. Mine are in there somewhere too. Here's one. Okay, Elon Musk was just asked advice on what he'd give somebody in the stock market. I mean, he told you to buy it, to hold your Tesla stock. I don't care about that one. Right here. Here we go. Listen to this. This is Elon Musk. This is a little small portion out of the video, but listen to what he says about the stock.
So what I'm saying is hang on to your stock.
Now, I believe that Elon gives clues about whether or not it's a good time to own the stock. He'll tell you if it's a bad time. He'll tell you when he thinks it's overvalued. He tells you all these things. But this little tiny comment that he made, I think is meaningful, and I think it means that Q1 isn't going to be nearly as bad as people anticipate, and that being down 55% from the highs is a blessing right now. That's what I believe. We'll see what ends up happening, but I truly believe that's what he meant, and that we'll see that soon in earnings. Anyway, let's go back here. I think what is it, 8:02 right now? I want to jump real quick to here. So we're in the Trump section. So this is Dr. David Cartland. He said, so basically taxpayers paid for the creation of the COVID-19 virus. We know that, right? Like even New York Times posts indicate that's true. Through USAID, and then paid the mainstream media to brainwash them about mass vaccines and lockdowns. So this is what happened.
By law, all federal spending is required to be publicly available on usaspending.gov. We've known for a while that Dr. Fauci used NIH funding to finance bat coronavirus research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, but it took the
to create a virus. Not only did we help fund the creation of the virus, hide everything, lie about what you should and shouldn't do, force people to inject stuff into their bodies that wasn't really well scientific tested. Not only did all of that happen, but we gave that money to a foreign entity that doesn't necessarily like us. It's just insanity.
watchdog White Coat Waste Project to expose evidence that
Kelly.
USAID was funding it too. In fact, the bulk of the money came from USAID. Yet no grants to the Chinese lab appeared on USA spending.
So again, they hide it. They're elusive. There's corruption everywhere. All these governments are this way. Kelly probably knows that her government's the same way. I'm not sure how much free speech people have in Canada anymore. Probably less and less by the day, but still a lot better than the UK. But again, it's one of those things where a lot of things are going to be coming out. I put here, I think it comes sooner than people realize, but yeah, I'm starting to think that the economic cycle is just starting. So let's listen here real quickly to Mike Wilson from yesterday.
Rates low, whatever, got CEOs excited about another Trump administration. When does that take over and offset tariffs, what you call maybe a slowdown in the government sector because of DOGE? Right. Does it eventually become something that we see M&A, we see animal spirits come back?
And I think that's a second half story.
Second half, that soon?
I think it's sooner than that.
Probably fourth quarter. And I think this administration has been very clear about this, that they will own the economy.
So that's the number that they're putting out as their safety. Like, we feel really good about the fourth quarter. I actually think we're going to front run that significantly. I think we're going to get a bounce here soon. Again, I believe that Tom Lee is right about how the pain that we felt recently was forced by the Fed, just like it was forced back in 2018 when they decided to raise rates just to test the waters. But then after that, and after they stopped doing stupid shit and they started working with Trump and lowering rates back down, the markets took off. And I think there's going to be a lot of that this time around. Again, people don't understand how tariffs work.
Second half, maybe the fourth quarter, I think they're laying this out. Think about when a CEO comes into a new CEO comes into a company. What do? They restructure the company. They kitchen sink it, and then their plan comes through in the next year. So, the markets will get ahead of this. So I don't think you're going to see a massive pickup in growth and all this stuff that people were excited about this year. It's going to be more of a 26 story. By the way, that's when AI productivity will start to kick into the economy. But the market will start to figure it out in the second half. And if growth gets too...
I do agree that I think we'll really, by the second half, we'll figure it out. And again, that's like June. So, yeah. I mean, the end of June, right?
Too weak. Once again, I think the Fed will respond, and the market's always like that. So it's going to...
Here's the thing, and I don't even know if Mike is referencing this well, so I'm gonna interject. So we're looking at the end of May or June, passing the reconciliation bill that's going to be an omnibus. That's going to include things like the no taxes on tips, overtime, Social Security. It'll also codify a bunch of the savings that we're getting with DOGE, and it will renew the corporate tax break, but it'll also lower the corporate tax break from 20 to 15%. And then you got the gold card where people from foreign countries can literally expedited with AI be able to get verified and purchase their $5 million gold card for themselves to have citizenship in the United States, or at least the ability to be able to come here and live and do all this stuff without having to worry about tax consequences. They still just pay the taxes for their businesses in their other countries. You have all these like awesome benefits, and they're bringing their whole fucking family too, right? So that's another 5 million, another 5 million, another 5 million, another 5 million. They all want a safety net, and the United States is the safety net. Everybody can see it right now. You have all this business coming in. You have all these positive things happening, and they're going to happen starting at the end of this half. And so we're doing the hard stuff now in the first quarter, and then by the end of the second quarter, it's going to be all good stuff, and the market is going to front run that good stuff. And if the Fed's bringing rates down, if bond yields are dropping, if Bessent and all these people are doing all the right things, and we're seeing a bunch of progress, we will see bond yields starting to drop. We'll see TLT popping to a breakout zone probably really quick. I think in the next couple of months we're gonna get that 20% move that we're looking for in TLT. And then you'll be able to buy if you got that hedge, you'll be able to buy a lot of your favorite things. And again, I think equities get punished more, but I think Bitcoin starts rising before all of that. And I think we'll see that about the time that gold starts topping, because again, you only get so much of a return on an asset that's 10x the size of Bitcoin before it slows down, it stops. And then people, like I say this all the time, people go from the biggest container the biggest container of potential returns. And that, like with gold, what's the biggest container? It's gold, right? Or I should say with stores of value, it's gold. And then what's the next biggest container? It's Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin. And then it's everything else down the line, MicroStrategy, Mara, CleanSpark, like all these other derivative proxies. So I think that's what's coming. And I think that's coming like by Q2. And then by early Q2. And then I think by late Q2, we get all the good stuff and it's going to get front run. And this is what's happening. This is what's fucking happening. And it's all good.
It's going to be rocky, as we said, for at least 6 months, maybe 9 months. And
from
in
actual
that process,
data.
We'll,
actual
find
data.
things to do,
Sure.
both long and short, for our clients.
And you think some of these policies will bear fruit?
But he's too bearish.
Positively for both the economy and the stock market?
Well, look, Joe, I know you agree on this. It's our best chance, right? So we have to restructure. The government is inefficient, right? And it's too big. And I don't think any...
You know what I love? Even people that are bearish right now all say the same thing. They're like, we're doing the right thing. 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 All of them. All of them. Even people that don't think it'll work because they're pessimists or they're perma bears or whatever, they're all saying we're doing the right thing. What happens? This is going to be a shocker for you guys. You guys answer me in the chat, okay? What happens when you do the right thing? Do good things happen? I want to say it's true that's what's going to happen.
But he disagrees with that. So how you do it?
You've been able to tell that I agree with you.
Yeah, well, we've talked about
Is
this.
it really that clear? I try not to.
So let's go down this path, and they're going to have to be flexible, just like a company would managing their business. We have to, take some costs out, and then the deregulation and lower interest rates and some of the benefits from that can flow through to the private economy later this year into 2026.
I 100% agree. So I think we could have pain again up until the tariff date, but I think we can front run that too. But after that, I think the truth starts to be unveiled. Again, we know they're working to be able to lower tariff trade barriers with all kinds of countries around the world, and they're doing that daily right now. And so there's going to be a bunch of announcements by the time April 2nd comes around. Like, hey, we already fixed it with these guys. We already fixed it with these guys. We already fixed it with these guys. Buy all your products from these guys. They're the ones playing ball. We're establishing permanent, free trade relationships with them. If you're going to do business with these companies. Otherwise, move your shit here. These countries. Otherwise, move your shit here. Also, something I really wanted to focus on today, and I haven't even gotten to. Mario Nawfal, activist judges beware. There's a number of reasons to beware for all these assholes that keep putting up barriers. Mike Lee targets injunction abuse. As Trump bites to enact the agenda Americans elected him to pursue, a cabal of activist judges, Roberts might be a part of this, we'll talk about that in a little bit, has unleashed an unrelenting barrage of lawfare to stop him in his tracks. Wielding dubious injunctions like weapons, these rogue judicial actors are hell-bent on substituting their own partisan whims for the will of the people. Senator Mike Lee has had enough, he's a badass too, by the way, of this mischief from the bench. I'll be introducing a bill next week to require this type of request for injunctive relief to go before a 3-judge district court with a direct appeal to SCOTUS. So what is he doing here? He's speeding up the process, but he's also putting up a barrier where one activist judge won't be able to just, go against Trump on every single thing that he's doing, or Elon with DOGE. And instead, we'll have to bring it to this, I don't know, tribunal is probably the wrong word, but this 3-judge district court where they can get rejected. And we can just nip it in the bud right there, or it gets a quick escalation to the Supreme Court. This is one of many, many things that we're doing to fix this problem. We'll talk about more. This kind of mischief would be far more difficult to carry out with that legislation in place. If successful, it would stop a single biased judge from derailing an entire administration with the stroke of a pen. A trio of judges would be scrutiny, deliberation, and a much-needed dose of impartiality to the table. And with a fast track to the Supreme Court, any abuse power could be swiftly overturned. Cool. Charlie Kirk, the left loves to call Trump Hitler, so how many of them are going to use the same language from the Mexican cartel for the Mexican cartels who literally were just caught operating a death camp like Nazis, complete with crematoria at an isolated Mexican ranch? None of them will, because the only requirement to be a Nazi to the left is being against their agenda. This is literally a death camp where they were murdering people. They found more than 1,000 items of clothing. This is a concentration camp. in modern times. Let's listen here. This is a young Max Bonilla, somebody of Hispanic heritage, talking about the bullshit going on in California. Let's listen to some of this.
This is unbelievable. In California, there is now a bill to give illegal aliens attending our University of California college systems a $138,500 taxpayer subsidized loan.
So, hey guys, we're giving massive loans from California to illegal aliens when probably people like Max can't even get that shit. And it's all taxpayer subsidized. These people won't have to pay this shit back. This is insanity. This is why we need to scrutinize the fuck out of California. We need to ensure that they have voter integrity laws. We'll talk about some of that in a little bit too. But yeah, there's a lot to fix there. Nick Carter. I like Nick sometimes. Other times I think he's a communist. I'm kidding. But he does look like one. I'm just going to say. That mustache. It's a little creepy. But I do like Nick. I don't always agree with him. But he said the Besant and the Lutnik all-in episodes are two of the best podcasts I've ever listened to. Just remarkable. So when I'm telling you how great these are, it's not just me saying it. John Cook, Harvard is denying admission to students with perfect SAT scores and AP calculus credit while also admitting students who need remedial math. This is one of our elite colleges where DEI is so bad that some of the people being admitted there can barely do fucking math. But the good, really well-educated, brilliant, fucking people can't get in. What does that degree even mean? All right, we got Ann Vandersteel said, breaking the end of administrative courts. Listen to this. This is more stuff that we're doing to fix the problems. The U.S. Solicitor General has declared what many have known for years. Administrative courts are unconstitutional, unlawful, and their days are numbered. The Department of Justice will no longer defend these for-profit tribunals masquerading as courts of law. Justice Gorsuch has made it clear no judge, agency, or bureaucrat can take your property, children, or freedom without a jury trial. The end of lawfare is here. The republic is rising. This is just another way that we're fixing these problems. Speaking of stupidity and DEI, the Netflix is pure anti-white propaganda. So you remember that guy who murdered some fucking young girls? Well, Netflix is doing like a real life story about it, but this little fucking white kid is the person who's the murderer. Why do we need to replace this asshole with this young fucking kid? Why are we so racist that we can't represent the person that did because we don't want to be offensive, because, we don't want to represent the math, we don't want to be seen as, fuck all that shit. Show reality for what it is. Show reality for what it is. And if you want communities to not do shit like this, make sure you don't have people in them that will. Fix that. Okay? Don't just pretend like it's something that it isn't. Tom Homan, I love him. I'm just going to let him speak for himself here because he's a brilliant man. He's such a tough dude, and yet he's so eloquent in what he has to say. He's great.
He laid off 20 U.S. citizen employees. That happens across this country every day. No one hires an illegal alien. I truly believe.
You think that post is fake? Let me know, chat.
Work them harder, pay them less, and undercut their competition.
I literally saw a video about the show. But let me know.
So this is about American business. This is about making sure U.S. citizens stay employed. This is about keeping wages at a certain level and not decreasing wages. It's the right thing to do. And there is a way, as Chad said, to bring people in legally. Congress needs to address that.
Yeah, and we're doing some of that with the gold card, but also we need to have other legal routes, especially for people that really do need asylum, like people that genuinely need it, like Afrikaners, and again, other people around the world that are being persecuted, no matter what their skin color is. We need to make sure that good people that love democracy and love our country and appreciate the effort that we're putting forth are able to come here, and we also need to encourage the best and the brightest, okay? Was a shit watch, only watched 30 minutes and gave up. Was that show? Is it an actual show? I don't know. I haven't even looked. But this is great. So Tom Homan is telling us that basically Democrats wanted cheap labor so that they could boost their own businesses, other people that are basically in the pockets of these that are friends with these groups. I mean, this is as bureaucratic and mob-like as it gets. Just wanted cheap labor, but getting rid of that cheap labor that shouldn't have been here to begin with, the people that are, again, could be committing crimes or they're just there to be used as slave labor for very low wages. Getting rid of them actually makes it to where we don't have to worry about wages for our citizens going down. We want to increase them. That's what Trump wants to do. He wants the bottom end of this country to get paid a lot. That's why he wants to remove all the bad guys that have been here. Probably not all the illegal aliens, because again, we'll want to keep the families. We'll want to keep the hard workers. We'll want to keep the people who love this country, and we'll need them for the manufacturing that we're bringing here. But we want wages to go up. Charlie Kirk, we're 10 minutes before the bell, 11 actually. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirms that 67% of all national injunctions issued by local district courts have come against President Trump. 92% of those have been partisan Democratic judges. We do have a constitutional crisis. It's caused by the Democrats. Also, Scott Pressler, the Persistence, said we need to have a talk. In 2018, Democrats took control of the House. It basically hampered Trump significantly. And he's saying, guys, we need to get out and vote. We've got elections coming up. If you're in a district where this is happening, like Pennsylvania, we need to work to get rid of these three Supreme Court justices and make it to where they don't have the power to hurt Trump. I 100% agree with that. I appreciate his service. He's a great guy. We got more, though. We got a lot more. There's so much stuff going on. We got Governor DeSantis calls on Congress to strip the jurisdiction of federal courts to decide that cases dictating Trump's executive policies. So again, we're working from all levels to be able to correct this stuff. We have Nayib Bukele. Let's see what he has to say about corrupt judges. And we're gonna look at him in a second because this is amazing.
But jumping out of the water when it's already boiling is an almost impossible feat. You are not there yet.
Oh, okay. So it's just a fictional story from Netflix about the adolescence of a 13-year-old boy who didn't exist, who did these same kind of atrocities, but he's white and like a little puny fucker. Okay, cool.
And believe me, you don't want to be. We did the unthinkable to cleanse our society. We arrested the terrorists, but we have to remove corrupt judges and corrupt attorneys and prosecutors.
And that's what he did, okay? And that's what he did, and we're going to talk about some of that here in a second. I don't know if I have it here. We got a lot to go through, though. So Walter Bloomberg said, Trump admin's new tariffs said to be worth trillions of dollars. The Trump administration's plans to impose new import tariffs on April 2nd, possibly totaling trillions of dollars, according to the Washington Post. So far, tariffs have been raised on about $800 billion in imports from China, Mexico, and Canada. These are from Trump's first term and then other stuff that's come recently. But we're looking to make a lot of money off of this. This could make the last 2 months look mild. Again, there's really beneficial things that are coming that people don't want to talk about. All they want to do is talk about the negatives. I want to see... Here, look at this. Anti-Trump FBI agent arrested as he tries to leave the country. Jonathan Buma, a senior FBI agent known for his attacks on Donald Trump, was apprehended moments before boarding an international flight to JFK Airport. The 15-year veteran had printed over 130 classified files from the FBI's internal network, intending to illegally leak them. Federal authorities swooped in at the departure gate, charging him with illegally disclosing sensitive information, including details of investigations into foreign nations' weapons programs. So we got that fucker. We're going to get a bunch more, too. Like this piece of shit. All right, let me see here. I want to see... I think that's pretty good on the rest of this. There's something else I want to show you. We're going to look up Nayib Bukele here. Nayib... Is that enough? That's probably enough. Sorry, there's one thing I want to show you. These are the prison camps, the really hard ones. He's got a really hard prison setup, and then he's got another one that rehabilitates people. It's beautiful. I want to find one video here, though. It talks about, I had it somewhere. Wish I could find it. Damn it. I thought I had this. Let me find out. Oh, there's the judicial coup one. Let me see if I can find it. It's just a bunch of people in this school cheering for Nayib Bukele because he has an approval rating that's over 90%. Maybe I can't find it, but it was absolutely beautiful. And it just, I think it's reflective of what we're going to see with Donald Trump here in a few years, especially around the 250th anniversary. I think we're going to see really, really positive stuff coming soon. All right. Oh, you know what? I might have it over here. Let me see real quickly. It might be under geopolitics, maybe. Maybe not. Okay, damn it. All right, let's go back over here. Bitcoin. Maybe it's under Bitcoin. Let's see. So I love this. It says Robert Breedlove, and again, we got about 6 minutes till the bell. Robert Breedlove, what is money? Will be regarded as the defining question of our time in history. I agree. It says, you have to work for the rest of your life for paper money that we create out of thin air and make you borrow from us and then charge you interest and taxes on. Fuck this. Agreed. Fuck this. Just in, Trump's crypto czar, David Sachs, met with the UAE to discuss Bitcoin. Again, International Monetary Fund also wanted to warn these guys that they shouldn't be doing anything with Bitcoin, just like they warned the United States that we shouldn't be buying Bitcoin or using it as a strategic asset. Fuck you, IMF. Just in, the largest two financial exchanges in Russia will launch Bitcoin trading, the next global reserve asset. Seems like a big deal. Michael Saylor, we will make America the undisputed Bitcoin superpower. This is pretty cool.
The President of the United States to address Digital Asset Summit.
To everyone at the Blockworks Digital Asset Summit.
It's pre-recorded.
It's an honor to speak with you about how the United States is going to dominate crypto and the next generation of financial technologies. And it's not going to be easy, but we're way ahead. Just 2 weeks ago, we hosted the first ever White House Digital Asset Summit, bringing together many of the world's top leaders in crypto for a conversation led by our White House AI and crypto czar, David Sachs, who's a fantastic and very brilliant guy. That same week, I signed an order creating the brand new strategic Bitcoin reserve and a U.S. digital asset stockpile, which will allow the federal government to maximize the value of its holdings instead of foolishly selling them for a fraction of their long-term value, which is exactly what Biden did. He got a fraction of their value. We're ending the last administration's regulatory war on crypto and Bitcoin, and that includes stopping the lawless Operation Choke Point 2.0. Operation Choke Point went beyond regulation, and I mean far beyond. It was a form of lawfare through government weaponization. Frankly, it was a disgrace. But as of January 20th, 2025, all of that is over. I've also called on Congress to pass landmark legislation creating simple, common-sense rules for stablecoins and market structure. With the right legal framework, institutions large and small will be liberated to invest, innovate, and take part in one of the most exciting technological revolutions in modern history. It's so big, it's, I think, as big as you can get. Pioneers like you will be able to improve our banking and payment system and promote greater privacy, safety, security, and wealth for American consumers and businesses alike. You will unleash an explosion of economic growth, and with the dollar-backed stablecoins, you'll help expand the dominance of the U.S. dollar, and many, many years to come, it'll be at the top, and that's where we want to keep it. We only want to keep it at the top, always. I can already see that the energy and passion of the crypto community is the kind of spirit that built our country, and it is exciting to watch as you invent the future of finance. And right here, it's going to be right here in the USA, the good old USA. Together, we will make America the undisputed Bitcoin superpower and the crypto capital of the world. Thank you. Good luck. God bless America.
So I know some people don't like the idea of us being like in control of the network, but if people know how Bitcoin really works, there's really going to be nobody in control of the network. It's going to be a constant fight for hash all around the world. We only have we have less than a third or something like that right now. So we're doing well. But there's there's nodes and there's hash all around the world, and it's just unstoppable. And so anybody who truly understands Bitcoin understands that it's brilliant that we're pursuing this path. We're already the world reserve currency. If we're the biggest holders of Bitcoin, that just ensures, it's like an insurance plan that we won't be losing that status anytime soon. I put fuck the IMF, again, trying to tell us that we shouldn't have Bitcoin strategic reserve, citing volatility and stability risks to the U.S. economy. Fuck you. Ben Workman, very interesting. Metaplanet appoints Eric Trump to strategic board of advisors. Do any of you invest in Metaplanet? I'm curious. I'm thinking about doing it. That's why I ask. Just in, SEC confirms that Bitcoin and proof of work mining are not securities. Cool. That would have been a big news a while ago. Now it doesn't even get noticed. Pakistan's Crypto Security Council chief says Bitcoin's price is only headed north. Let's listen.
As you were rightly mentioning, Trump's return is the biggest bullish catalyst for crypto in history. Today, he makes history as the first sitting U.S. president to speak at a Bitcoin or crypto conference in New York. And I think, Trump is essentially flipping the script. Trump signed the executive order instructing regulatory bodies to accommodate digital assets, forming a White House crypto advisory team, creating a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve. And, we have to understand what that means, is that means that the largest economy in the world is creating it like a valuable national asset, similar to how it stockpiles gold or oil.
Anyway, so he goes through this for a while, but again, this is the view of a lot of people all around the world, okay? I think I covered a lot of the rest of this. Oh, let's see if we got anything else real quick here. We got, I guess it's time for the bell. Might as well get to it. Let's go here. Go live.
Weekends these days. Again, if you do not like Trump, you don't want to own stocks. If you like Trump, you're probably thinking this is a pretty interesting level.
All right, here's the opening bell and the CNBC real-time exchange here at the big board. American Water.
All right, there we go. We got our bell. Let's look over here. I'd say this is a bottoming pattern on Tesla, personally. Can we go down more? Maybe. I just really doubt it. I don't know. People can bottom feed if they want to. I've still got like what 400,000 or something. I got to see what the number's at, but close to 400,000 and TLT, right? Actually, maybe a little bit more than that. So I'm good. If bonds are going down over the next couple of months, bond yields and we see that reduction, and I think we will. Again, let's look at the 10-year right now. And then we'll look at broader stuff. Again, we're testing that 200. We're down at 0.5% today. I think we want to roll over. I don't know if it happens today. We know the bearish divergence is there. I think it's all good stuff. The 2-year doesn't look any better. It's still sitting at 3.92. It looks like it wants to roll over, all while Tesla's up 1%, and I think growing. I could see this going up very, very quickly. And MicroStrategy's down 1.7%. Here, let's just look at the broader. I don't know. I think Bitcoin's bottoming. Now, don't get me wrong. Bitcoin could maybe have another retest. It could. If you look down in the bottom right corner, guys, you'll see that we kind of got, it does look like a bear flag. I was hoping that it would be more strong and pronounced because I thought the Fed meeting was just amazing. It was such a turnaround in what Powell was saying and doing. But if you look over here, you'll see that this did end up turning into essentially a bear flag. So could we test down a little bit before we test up again? Totally. I don't think that would be crazy at all. I don't think it would be crazy at all for this to be bearish for a second and drop back down and test one last time before we go higher. You know what that's called? It's called a triple bottom. Let me show it to you. So this is it. 1, 2, 3. You can't really see this one right here, but it went all the way down to here. It's called the triple bottom. Could that happen? It totally could. But I think this, I've been pretty optimistic, but it's kind of it's a double-edged sword for me. But I literally think that this is the bottom. I think this is the bottom. We're experiencing it right now, and this is a great opportunity to get in. That's my take. And let's just sort over here on the main screen. So we got Micron down today, 6.3%, despite some pretty decent news, I think. And the VIX, let's see how the VIX is doing. The VIX is up today, but it's still just rolling over. I mean, this is a rollover. This is on the monthly time frame. If the VIX doesn't skyrocket, then this just looks like more downward pressure. You don't want a bunch of wicks above you. It doesn't mean you're going up, right? Like you could see it over here. That wasn't good. It was more price action down. Over here, a bunch of wicks, more price action down. Every time you have wicks like that, like we've seen over here, you're going to see more downward pressure. And downward pressure in the volatility means upward pressure in stocks. And I think that's what we're going to end up seeing. Let's see what else we got here. So Tesla's one of the strong ones today. Isn't that fascinating? The rest of the market's just kind of meandering so far. Let me pull up the heat map over here. It's so fascinating, though, to see Tesla. So let's switch to daily. Look at this. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? Look at that. Look at that. Tesla, green. Everything else just kind of like, meh. That'll probably change throughout the day, but very fascinating that that's the case. I'm going to make a post about that. But yeah, so guys, what's the sequence in which price moves? Bitcoin first, it's actually, I mean, it's gold. It's the biggest container, right? So the biggest store of value is gold, which is down 0.64% today. And so that's the biggest container. It's had an amazing run. We're back testing right now on things like MicroStrategy and Mara and all of them. We're literally at the bottom, guys. Like look at this. So we're back testing here on a breakout for MicroStrategy that started in November and the 25th. So December, January, February, March, 4-month breakout, right? That looks good. Let's look at Mara. So that's a positive thing. Mara is literally testing its resistance line again before a further breakout. That looks good. That looks ready to pop. And then CleanSpark, and again, we could go down a little bit more. These probably won't go down too much more, but I think we're in the last salvo to the downside. And CleanSpark has just been butchered down almost, I mean, it's down about 70% right now. And even though you see a volume gap over here, it doesn't really matter because this thing is in such an oversold state that unless this company is failing, and I do not think they are, Bitcoin, like there's only so far you can go. There's only so far you can go. Now, the end of the month could give these guys a rougher quarter, though. If we don't pop soon and get some higher levels and end up closing the quarter lower than we were the previous one, because of difficulty increasing and all this other stuff, it could make it to where the Q2 or Q1, which is represented here in like, I don't know, over the next month or so in some of these numbers, depending upon when they release their data, could be a little less spectacular. But if by the time they release that data, Bitcoin's popping, people will just look right through that. And I think that's a very distinctive reality of what could be happening. But yeah, no, I'm bullish, guys. I'm still very fucking bullish. And I think we'll see how that turns out. Worst case, I got 400,000 in TLT. And if I can get that to over $1 million in the next month or two, because we do have further downside action, then I'll just use that to buy the dip. That's my plan. I do think I'm going to bail in a little bit. I got a ton of stuff to do today. I got a fence to fix. I just got a ton of stuff. So I'm probably going to call it right here, guys, since there's no more economic data really coming out. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. Again, I'm going to try and do some more work over the weekend, maybe give you some good video summaries. But otherwise,